by creating unifying little model societies. I am dividing this paper into two parts. The first part is, where are we now? Where were we in the past? And the second part is, where we should be and how to get there. So to start with the first part, two forces, according to Swami Vivekananda, two forces, conflicting forces, are constantly in operation throughout the nature. One is constantly dividing or differentiating, and the other is constantly unifying or harmonizing. As far as the social life of man is concerned, also this is very much true. From the time the society began, these forces are there, although they may be known by different names in different places and at different times, but they are there. According to Swami, these forces, the whole world is said to be or seem to be the battleground of these two forces, conflicting as well as unifying. What are these forces like? Like wars, starting from the quarrels within the family, fights within the society, fights within the nation, wars between the countries, nation states as well as non-nation entities like Hamas and all. And then we have got the regional fanaticism, casteism, extremism, terrorism, and all sort of dysfunctional isms like that. And we have in our history the untiring efforts put in by the great seers, gurus, social reformers, preachers, etc. for unifying the world. But unfortunately, especially in the 21st century, what we are seeing is that these differentiating factors are gaining an upper hand. And all the sermons preached by the saintly people have fallen into deaf ears. But was India like this? Ancient India was different. One of the major highlights of the Vedic rishis was interconnectedness. We are living in an interdependent world. For anything and everything except for breathing, we depend on other people. When we are able to understand this, absorb this, and internalize this, then we will be able to have unity and harmony in the world. From such a concept, the Vedic rishis propagated the idea that the reality is one, although it is known in different names. Ekam Sat Vibra Bahuda Vadanti. And think about that Rigveda prayer, the group prayer. Sangachatvam, Samvadatvam, Samvo Manamsi Janatam, Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve, Samjanana Upasade, Samaniva Akuti, Samana Hridayaniva, Samana Mastuvo Mano, Yathava Susahasati. What a comprehensive appeal for world unity. That was the time when we had this Sanatana Dharma in our country. From such a spirit of unity, we could interconnect people. We could interconnect everything in the nature. But then what happened to that culture? With the advent of Varnasrama culture and the wrong interpretation of Varnasrama culture, various castes and subcastes emerged. And the, the priesthood with ulterior motives deliberately distorted the dictate. See, in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4, 13 verse number 13, starts by saying, Lord Krishna says that Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam. But that is only the first quarter of that verse. In the second half, he says, the crux of the verse is in the second half of that first line, that is Guna Karma Vibhagacha. But concealing that clandestinely for the personal advantage, this priesthood declared that it is given by the Lord that I have created Chadurvarnya. According to Swami Chinmayananda, this priest class has been the number one anti-social, anti-God element that Hinduism had to bear with. Blasphemers. With the advent of Varnasrama culture, came up this Haindava culture, and then Trimurti system, where all sort of superstitions and the untouchability, everything came up. And that harmonious coexistence of the Rishi culture, that period has been lost. According to Swami Vivekananda, way back in 1897, he said that caste system is the number one social evil in India, and that has been due to the actually he said that the reformers are under the wrong impression that this is because of caste system, is because of the religious representation only. But he said that it is because of the social conditions, curious social conditions in India. And if you want to do away with the caste system, you have to change the social conditions. Going a step further, Paramahamsa Yogananda said that what is to be changed is not the social conditions, but the human consciousness. And he said, I would like to read it out actually. Paramahamsa Yogananda says that if you want to create world peace, where people with different faiths live in harmony and work together to develop the society, the best way to do that would be to create little societies that can inspire others to make the recommended changes individually in themselves, rather than forcing everyone to march in lockstep togetherness towards some general good that often ends in disaster. If an example works and the results are there for everybody to see, people will be inspired to follow that. They will be inspired to change. Without a desire to change, no one will ever do better at anything. One moon, points out Yogananda, gives more light than all the stars together. One transformed human being has a more beneficial impact on others than 1,000 people campaigning for improvements, which, when the shouting is over, often leaves everything no more changed than when a deck of cards is reshuffled. Does it sound familiar? Although these sort of these symposiums or colloquium or seminars and peace initiatives and all, where are we now? See West Asia. West Asia is in flux. What started as a direct military confrontation between Israel and Hamas has snowballed into a regional major crisis now. Today's paper says that now it started in I think 7th of October last, and by now 28,065 people have been dead. Israel's attacks on Gaza, and more than 66,000 people injured and wounded. West Asia has been in conflicts earlier also, between states like Iran and Iraq, then Israel and Hamas and other non-state, various denominations of non-state entities, and now Iran, USA all joined in, and it is becoming unmanageable, and there is no peace in sight in the foreseeable future. And think about caste system. In Tamil Nadu, for example, for instance, not only in Tamil Nadu, actually in various states of the country, this caste discrimination against Dalit is rampant. In Tamil Nadu, I understand that there are separate chapels within the same village for Dalit Christians. Although they constitute a majority, they are not, Dalits are not elevated to the level of priests or bishops. So they say that the one Dalit MP from Tamil Nadu, he says that actually caste system has swallowed Christianity. This is not only the case of Tamil Nadu. Elsewhere also it is happening in the country. So that is the position where we are now. Now, let me go to the, because of the time paucity, I am curtailing many things. Let me go to the second part, which is more important, about which I want to talk. That is where we should be and how to get there. Navajyoti Sri Karunagara Guru, the founder Guru of Santhigiri Ashram in Thiruvananthapuram, has rolled out some trailblazing and revolutionary initiatives to combat the prevailing state of social disintegration and cultural degradation and the uninhibited orgies of violence and massacres in the name of mutually conflicting socio-political ideologies and religious fanaticism. According to Guru, The reason for the all-pervading moral, cultural, and social decadence is the absence of a unifying spiritual wisdom. We were talking about differentiating and unifying forces. The absence of a unifying spiritual wisdom is the root cause of all these problems in India. Why India? Across the globe. As we have seen in the ancient Jnana Marga, or wisdom tradition propagated by the rishis of yore, sought to achieve human upliftment. With this objective, Sanatana Dharma, the eternal system of righteousness and duties, was shared and perpetuated in the bygone ages through a line of spiritual masters and disciples. This has come to be known as Guru Shishya Parambara. And from such a sound spiritual basis, the great country India could give the message to the whole world, Vasudeva Kudumbagam, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Egam Vipra Behuda Vadandi, Behujana Hitaya, Behujana Sukhaya. And from Brahadaharanya Upanishad, Asodoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jodurgamaya, Mrityorma Tamasorma Jodurgamaya, Mrityorma Amradam Gamaya, et al. And others. In Bhagavad Gita, the very last sloga, the 701st sloga says, Etra Yogeshwara Krishno, Etra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Srir Vijayor Pudi, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra that, according to me, Matir Mama, where the highly evolved master, Yogeshwara Krishna, and the disciple who is prepared to act, Dhanurdhara, Arjuna, Dhanurdhara, to do the bidding of the master, where the disciple is also ready. There, all sort of prosperity, affluence, victory, and happiness as well as order in the nation will come, will prevail. That is what Navajot Sri Karunagiri Guru has done. He has re-established that Guru Shishya Parambara. He has re-established the Sanatana Dharma. He has brought back the Jnana Marga, wisdom tradition. Guru was highly critical about the practice of using gods to perpetuate caste and caste differences. He says, we must transcend our ego. The problem is that individual ego getting expanded to group ego. All this extremism and terrorism, all because of this expanded group ego. We must transcend the ego and understand that all of us are part of the same almighty power. Such a vision will exclude social discrimination of all nature and oppression in every form. So, recognizing the supremacy of Brahman as the ultimate divine power and light, in Santhigiri Ashram as well as its branches across India and abroad, Om representing Brahman is the object of worship. Santhigiri prayer halls across the country and elsewhere are open to people from all religions, castes, grades, etc. Disciples and hundreds of thousands of Guru's devotees spread across various castes and religions pray to one God, Brahman, and mingle freely and dine together everywhere. It is not just practicing, it is not preaching, it is practicing. At Santhigiri, Guru has laid the foundation for establishing a wholesome spiritual culture and casteless social order through a series of social spiritual re-engineering mechanisms. Like what? 70%, more than 70% of the marriages in Santhigiri Parambara, in Santhigiri lineages, are inter-caste marriages. Can you think about that? Can any other spiritual organization in the country boast of such a position? More than 70% of the marriages in the Santhigiri lineages are inter-caste marriages. The boys and girls for the Vetlok are selected based on their compatibility of the jiva, which is a spiritual exercise being done by the world master only, and no consideration for caste, grade, color, financial background at all. Why the exhortation of all the masters fell into deaf ears? Guru says that it's because the karmic baggage that we are carrying. As Sadguru says, we individually are crowd in one. Individually, we people are a crowd in one. We are having the baggage of karmas of our fathers, forefathers, and others, and the deities that they have are all worshipped. So, if that has to be removed, and that must be removed, then it has to be undertaken through a spiritual intercession, which is something which can be done by a highly evolved master only. That is being done in Santhigiri Ashram through Guru Puja, also called as Rishi Puja or Petru Shuddhi. That is beyond the scope of this limited paper, so I am not going into that. So, what I am saying is that, as Paramahamsa Yogananda said, little society has been created in Santhigiri, which is getting expanded by day. although slowly but surely, and it is going to expand. It is going to create a casteless society, and that way the world peace and harmony will be re-established. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm greatly honored to introduce our next speaker, Professor Dr. G. Girish Verma, Chancellor's nominee, KY and ASU, for the presentation.
Excuse me, can I have the... yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Now, is the presentation okay? It's not opening. Can someone help to open my PowerPoint, please? അടുത്ത ആളെ വിളിച്ചിട്ട് പിന്നെ വേണോ? Seems that there is a small trouble with opening of the PowerPoint. So shall we give the space to someone else and come back to me later? Will it be wise enough? Other than right time. Yes, so precious. Okay, that's great. Thank you. PowerPoint തുറക്കുന്നില്ല.
It fills my heart with extreme joy to call upon the next person who is bound to have an eminent personality, a great academician, Dr. Purushothaman, living in well-being. Sir, please.
By the blessing of Supreme Being, the Almighty God, my heartfelt salutations to each and everybody assembled here in this auspicious occasion, in this great ambience, where we are assembled under the umbrella of United Nations in association with United Religious Initiative, World Yoga Community, Religious Dialogue for Sustainable Development, and other partners. As we congregate on this sacred ground, we must acknowledge the profound unity that is beyond geographic boundaries, faith and beliefs. And our theme today is Promise of Oneness, the power of peace, sustaining, redefining sustainable development of humanity. This is the paper which I have submitted, given to the souvenir. So what I am going to really not talk, to read, is a replicate of the paper which I have submitted to the souvenir, and you will get it after 15 days or something like that. So I will just go, I will have an overview. I will just only highlight in the main points, so that when you get the souvenir, you can go through that. Let us have a retrospective thought. Where are we now? In this millennium, even though we are excited, enchanted and exhilarated by enjoying all the benefits and the positive outcomes of relationship in personal life, family life, social life, in the nation, in the country, has really shattered. Values, protocol, love, sympathy, empathy, human relationship, responsibilities, and the refined qualities are fading away every day. We are amid colossal confusions, conflicts, terror, violence, disaster, miseries and sufferings in this otherwise beautiful world. The global landscape is riddled with the conflicts and confusions. And there comes the importance of a summit like this, where we are all talking, we are discussing about peace as the cornerstone. Let us have an overview of the contributing factors of the present world scenario. The complex web of factors contributing to this global unrest is multifaceted. Economic disparities persist on a global level, where a minority possesses disproportionate wealth and the majority are in poverty. Religious and ideological conflicts continue to divide nations, societies, leading to widespread violence and instability. And adding fire to that, fuel to the fire, the environmental degradation, the natural calamities, disasters like the recent COVID-19 has really displaced millions. And along with that, the pervasive lack of empathy and understanding among different cultures and nations equally concerning and fueling animosity and discord. So we have assembled here with these things this background in our minds. How do we approach this problem? The puzzling problem perpetuates our minds is how to tide over this dangerous global phenomenon. In the pursuit of a world defined by universal peace, the contributions of various stakeholders like the governments, the non-governmental organizations, religious organizations, thinkers and philosophers and visionaries, philanthropists, and like persons and organizations are of paramount importance. You know, the governments, I am going to give a simple one or two explanations only. All the things are given in the souvenir. Governments can pave the way for a harmonious world through diplomatic channels, adherence to international agreements, and the implementation of inclusive policies. Nations must commit to international collaborations, aligning the effort with the global initiatives for sustainable development. The NGOs can advocate for policy changes, mobilize communities, and they can work in the grassroots level to implement these ideas and ideologies. Especially the spiritual and religious organizations and leaders have got a very, very important role. These organizations, the spiritual leaders, the spiritual teachings can go beyond the boundaries. They emphasize on the shared values, fostering understanding among communities. The teachings of the religious organizations, philosophers, and thinkers can inspire individuals to cultivate empathy, compassion, and a sense of responsibility toward the well-being of all. You know, when it comes to thinkers, I think that we, in this assembly, we have got all these categories of people are assembled here from all over the world. So I think that through the writings, speeches, critical reflections, thinkers can offer intellectual foundation upon which societies can build inclusive and equitable structures. You know, philanthropists, and I thought the philanthropists, these rich people with a great dedication and a vision and mission can contribute a lot to implement our today's theme, and they can contribute many things in the field of healthcare and the like, and various healthcare, economic empowerment, and other things. And I think that visionaries and change makers, and I think that all we are assembled here, we come to that group also. We are all visionaries. We visualize many things. We imagine many things. We plan many things. So we are all visionaries. And I think that we visionaries can make a lot of ideas and ideologies. And that will be future, that will be implemented, that will become actualized in the near future. And in this scenario, we are all talking about global peace. I would like to say a few words about Global Peace Index. That's very important. The study, the Global Peace Index, is a study conducted by the Institute of Economics and Peace and states that nations and diverse nations based on violence, safety, and conflict levels. The findings of the Institute of Economics and Peace says that nations with the higher peace levels enjoy more excellent social progress, economic prosperity, and environmental sustainability. Do you know that the global violence in the 2020, as per the studies, state that it has cost about $14.5 trillion for the total violence caused by the total violence all over the world. And this shows the magnitude of the problem. So, in this scenario, the Global Peace Index reminds us that universal peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but a state of being that nurtures cooperation, understanding, and shared well-being. In this connection, we are all talking about love, the power of love, often deemed intangible, manifests in acts of kindness, empathy, and compassion. And love is a force that goes beyond boundaries, fostering connections that unites us as a global unity. Now, our sub-theme is redefining sustainable development of humanity. So, with all these things all these ideas in our minds, all this discussion, I have enumerated some points that will give an index of redefining sustainable development of humanity. In that connection, in that strategy, peace is the most important thing. Peace becomes the cornerstone. Peace contributes to social stability, fostering an environment where individuals can flourish and communities can thrive. Redefining humanity's sustainable development is an urgent task, focusing on key elements such as a holistic approach centered on peace, social equity, cultural preservation, and human flourishing. This redefined sustainable development promotes social equity, economic inclusivity, and environmental stewardship, addressing income disparities, ensuring equal access to education, healthcare, and responsible resource management. And redefining sustainable development of humanity is a vision worth pursuing. Together, I think that we can make it a reality. And at the core of this, our theme, redefining sustainable development, is all about enhancing human flourishing and abundance in the personal, family, social life. It is all about creating societies where individuals have the opportunity to lead meaningful lives, where their basic needs are met, and where they can pursue their full potential. For this, a holistic approach that considers economic prosperity, social inclusion, and environmental sustainability and cultural richness are needed. Now, today, let us take a pledge for a brighter future. In our grand mission, embracing the harmonious integration of, in that case, a harmonious integration of science and spirituality is highly needed. Science and spirituality should go hand in hand. Previously, science and spirituality were going in different directions. Now, science has come closer and closer to spirituality. And one day, both these domains will become one and the same. And throughout this extraordinary summits or conclave, yesterday we were really enlightened by the speeches, teachings of spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders and gurus and guides, and really their messages, their information really enlightened us, and I think that their teachings really are a beacon or a lamp and light for us. Even though I have got a special thing to say, from the beginning of time, from ages, people, religious teachers, spiritual teachers, philosophers, thinkers were all trying to make changes. We teach spirituality, we teach religiosity, we read and write and all these things. But if we closely observe, we can find that changes are very minimum. Of course, changes are taking place. Why? I have one thing to say. Unless and until we understand the most precious possession in our life. When we ask what is the most precious possession in our life, we may have many answers. But I believe that the most precious possession in our life is our own minds. Unless and until we understand the mind. Unless and until there is a radical positive change in our mind setup, there is no spirituality, no religiosity, no transformation, no enlightenment. So, knowing the know-how or how to change our mind setup is the key point. So, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. You know that I will take 1 or 2 minutes also. We thought that the human mind, the human thinking cannot be changed. We thought that after 20 years or 30 years, brain will not develop. Now, the recent advance in science and technology and the neural sciences and say that the human mind and the brain is highly flexible, pliable, and any change can occur in anybody at any point of time. So we are all talking about changes. We are all talking about peace, love. But in actual life, if we sincerely observe ourselves, most of the time we haven't changed. Of course we have got change. We preach a lot of things, but change hasn't happened. It is only because, as I am repeating that, it is due to the lack of the know-how. There's a method, and that method is just, I will use a technological term, that's a reprogramming of the mind. You know, the human brain and the mind is just like a computer. Just like reprogram the personal computer, we can reprogram our mind and brain, and suddenly radical changes will come. So when a computer is with a virus, what happens? System hangs. You take it to a programmer. The programmer will uninstall the virus signature, install a new software, the system changes. In the same way, the human brain, the recent advance in science and technology and neuroscience is saying that the human brain and mind can be changed by reprogramming. Suddenly, then when we reprogram our mind by using specific techniques, the techniques are very simple. It is changing the mental codings or the scripts. So we change the way we think. The words that we use, the word can change. So the way you are, what you are thinking, if you can change if you really want to change, we can change our minds. And definitely, if we are practicing, if we are reprogramming our mind, if we are really changing our mind setup, then all this, what we are visualizing, will definitely happen. And in conclusion, let us collectively and solemnly pledge for our sincere commitment to actualize the vision and mission of this summit for a renewed life journey where the power of peace is the lamp and light. Now let us sincerely seek the esteemed support, association and collaboration on all the things, all persons all over the world, so that there will be universal peace and love, and we will attain a state of human perfection, excellence, harmony, happiness, peace and love in the days to come. And let our slogan or mantra be sustainability through oneness, flourishing in peace. And let this, our association, this meeting, this be a stimulating factor. Let us have a renewed life journey after this association of this meeting. And with these words, I am concluding my words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I am honored to introduce and then invite our next speaker, Professor Dr. G. Girish Verma, Chancellor's nominee, Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University, whose expertise lies in many areas like climate change, ecophysiology, ecology, and evolution. Thank you.
Is this okay? Good afternoon. I'm Girish Varma. Where is that recorder? Right, okay, so there is some stick or something like that you can manage. Not that particular. Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, gurus from all over the world. I'm happy to be with you this afternoon. Still remember 1997, February 11th, I landed in the United Kingdom to join as a doctoral student, PhD student in the renowned Roslin Institute. You might have heard of the Dolly, cloning of sheep, the first cloned sheep. So while I was entering Roslin Institute, it was all with BBC crew, all around Ian Wilmot and all great scientists doing a great job in the physical advancement of the science. So at that time, 17 years back exactly, so I was totally admiring the physical advancement of science, the physical basis of science, and the physical courage and straightforwardness of science. So I was really excited. So as our Hari sir was suggesting, he says that the making of a person, making of institutions, etc., it should be following the principle of Panchabhuta, starting with Akash, the sky, the dream, idea, and it slowly transcends to wind, the Vayu, then blows with energy as Agni, yes sir, and then slowly flowing, taking shape as fluid or water, then finally leaving and form as earth. So at that time, I was totally dispensing all possibilities of anything, all Bhutas except earth. I was totally believing in the physical advancement or the scope of science. But just after completing my PhD, I could slowly recognize that what I lacked could be the element of sky, the imagination. And when I was more involved with the climate change studies at the international, national or state level, I'm more aware that I have to take a traverse right from earth to sky. Maybe for me, the path is actually backward, something backward. So now I am walking or studying to walk from earth to sky. I badly missed the sky in my professional life, which I am recapitulating with you in this one. So in brief, that's the place where I am belonging to. In case of science, in case of philosophy, anything like that. Okay. Now I am talking just a very objective thing like climate change, which is a reality. Next one. So as we all agree, climate, please, just next one. Right. I can manage. Okay, thank you. So climate change has been certain from yesterdays, yesteryears, decades. And still it is a reality. And it would be more imposing for tomorrow. So we have to start with that axiom. Now, geographical basis of climate or climate change. I'm not elaborating on the physical aspects, but just I wanted to emphasize the point that some people, including the national heads of developed countries, they argue that even if human interventions or anthropogenic reasons are there, it is all nothing to do with the actual climate change. It's all happening due to the nature. So just imagine the scales of nature which is causing the climate and the climate change. It is billions of years or thousands of years at least. But for the last 100 years, the accumulation of greenhouse gases and the extreme deviation from the normal is our responsibility. No one can escape from that. Again, I have to say that this is the philosophical basis of your science, your physical science. That is the point where I am standing with you, just sharing some ideas from the physical world on the path to the philosophical world. Right? So this is actually, it's all commonplace. Earth's orbit, because you know this is not totally circular one. It's a elliptical one. So sometimes the Earth is moving away from sun, and some other time it is moving near one. And the axis is 23.5 degrees. So it is always distributing the solar energy in such a way that the poles, the equator, and different regions will have different experience of solar radiation. And definitely it can cause climate change, etc. That is true. Yes, next one. So actually this has caused the establishment of the flora and fauna, including many of us, right from algae or microbes, even virus, I don't know, microbes, bacteria, then plants, animals, and then including we. So it's a process, it's a natural process. And human evolution and migration pattern also depends on that climate and climate change, climate establishment. Now, what are major effects of climate change? I'm talking much on the physical aspects right now. See, this is the shifting in global temperature and precipitation. Precipitation means snowfall or rainfall. It has changed. Now, melting ice caps and glaciers at polar regions. That also has happened. Again, earlier time there was no pole ice. It was all hot over the surface of the earth. So it was not inhabitable. But later the earth cooled down, allowing more ice to be formed at the polar region, and then only the starting of flora and fauna came, and humans were more comfortable with the changing or cooling the earth's surface. But later it has reversed a little. So just if it does rain today and if it does not tomorrow, that is not a climate change. Actually, it's actually total baseline deviation in all the parameters you consider. If you experience over a period of time, then you call it a climate change. It's not a weather change or weather event. Now the third one, the ocean current patterns resulting in tropical climate change, etc. This is the basic pattern. Now, the major issues we have to face is actually the GHG emission, greenhouse gas emission. It is nothing but just a ceiling over the surface of the earth or of this atmosphere, which does not allow the reflection and going back of the radiation. So radiations come back to the earth, giving us more stress to live. That is a simple idea of GHG. And then the socio-economic development, definitely increasing population, number, migration, etc. This will complex the idea or the issues. And then mitigation and adaptation strategies which we have. So we are thinking something about the strategies of mitigation and adaptation. So I'll come to that point later. Now, why climate change is a global issue? Obviously, melting glaciers, as I have indicated earlier, rising in sea level, and Kerala itself has been warned of having 3 districts affected, Ernakulam, Alappuzha and Kollam, by 2050, some 26 years after. Some of the districts will be inundated. It will be sea, including my wife's family house. It's going to be under sea. It's going to be reality. So people have to do action. So it's not philosophy. It's not dream. It's a reality. Yes. Then the frequent heat waves, then drought, then competition for resources, including land and water, especially fresh water, is going to be very critical. And then disruption and uprooting of human communities, that also has happened earlier. The desertation in Thar and the Asian countries, Middle Asia, it has happened earlier. So human migration and civilization detour, all things are possible with climate change. So such a big issue. And disrupting, uprooting human communities and aggravating the current conflicts, obviously. And ocean also. Actually, ocean is considered to be a carbon dioxide sink. Almost 40% of the carbon dioxide emanated will be shifted to oceanic water. But how long it can hold? And again, it causes acidification of ocean and threat to the oceanic life, oceanography, etc. So these are long pending issues are there on the list in the shore. And impair of oceoecobiology, yes. And how climate change is a threat to peace. Now, normally, so as my elder speaker has told, okay, actually, what is the opposite of peace? Opposite of peace is actually war, yes. But what about a disease? That's also against peace. What about a disaster? That's also against peace. And what about, say, drought, migration? All these are. So as he has rightly suggested, it is not simply avoidance of the clashes. More than that, more than a war, more than a man-made war, these are going to be the real issues which we have to face. We have to have answers. Yes. And loss of livelihood, climate-related disasters, and forced migration, displacement, all these are facing. We have to have answers. We have to address or start addressing. Now, Earth's orbit, rotation. Okay, these are all just, again, I am just repeating. And the next one is the most one. Heat trapping greenhouse gases at the top, disallowing dissipation of heat from the Earth's surface. And again, ocean effect, which is acting as the carbon sink. Now, what is the role of GHG? Again, I have to say, global warming is mainly due to the anthropogenic GHG emissions. Whatever Trump says or similar national head says, so he says that it's a natural process, man has nothing to do, just enjoy. No, that is not the situation. Over the last 100 or 120 years, it has really happened, and GHG has gone much to our expectations, which is going to have issues, real issues today, tomorrow. Even our, say, the wildlife conflict, an elephant killing, this one, all these are your direct issues where we have to have an answer. We cannot wait to have symposium like that. Of course, we have to have a symposium, as I have suggested. We have to start with the sky, Akash. But then we have to have a route up to the earth. We have to have an answer. Yesterday, a man, or yesterday before, an elephant has killed. So we have to have an answer from this session. Unless you have that answer, you don't have a say in your listen. So your policy has to change, your issues have to change, your view has to change. So before that, you have to have pondering, the strong pondering of your expectations, your dreams, and your philosophy. Yes, that's the point I am emphasizing. And actually, per capita, this carbon dioxide equivalent, 1990 to 2023, just in 2022. Actually, it is 6.24 ton carbon dioxide equivalent to almost 6.67 ton. It's a huge one. And it is causing almost 0.4 degrees Celsius increase in the average temperature, global temperature. It's not silly. It's not a dream or just, it's a reality. And per capita, and again, I have to say, I have to emphasize this point also. I say that this is politics or geopolitics, whatever you call. The per capita, this emission in US average per person, it is 6.5 tons carbon dioxide equivalent. That is the global average. And US accounts for almost more than double. More than double. And of course, I don't know, I'm not going to elaborate that one. In India, we are responsible for less than half of the global one. So definitely lifestyle implies. Lifestyle is important. We have to say, yes. And then, in other words, so in economic terms, just imagine 10% or less of the most richest persons living on the earth, causing more than half of the GHG emission for the whole world. Have it to keep mum. Have it to keep mum. See, this is the science, and this is the issue where we have to have an answer through science, through deliberation, through speaking, through such forums. So that's my hope. That's why I'm hopefully here with you. So just some tips, just on the iceberg, as you know, tip of the ice, just like that. So these are some suggestions where we can reduce, or we can think or propose to reduce this one. One is serve the energy at home, or save energy at home. Try to avoid unwanted energy expenditure, whether it is air condition, whether it is fan or anything like that, just reduce. And even see electrical bulbs to LED bulbs, so much. All these come in that list. It's a big one. And change the source of energy rather than the thermal energy. No, luckily, state of Kerala has got a very environmentally eco-friendly hydroelectric projection, because there is no burning of fossil fuels. So we have. And think about solar, and also think about wind, and even waves, etc. So these are the alternatives. Rather than the emission from the fossil fuels, we may have to think about alternate sources, including electrical ones for transportation. Yes, this is one. So reduce your demand, reduce your consumption to the extent possible, then reuse anything to the maximum possible level, repair your things rather than just throwing it and trashing and then getting another one, then recycle. So this is the common mantra. Now, try to walk, bike, or use public transport, or even electrical vehicles. Promote that. I'm talking about the government policies. So where we have to have recommendations, and scientists have to have recommendations, then only policy makers can have a path. Yes. And compact travel. Even think about less international travels within the continent, within the country, and within your village travel. And if not avoided, just think about once in 5 years also an international tour or something like that. Think about that. So we have to have that wisdom with us. Now, eat more vegetables. So that's also another one. The major argument is that the biological energy to build 1 kg of human meat, I'm sorry, not for consumption, 1 kg of human mass is almost several folds, 10,000 or 1 million times more than the energy spent for 1 kilogram of rice or 1 kilogram of microbes. So that means you are just spending the natural energy or biological energy to produce 1 human. So we are very costly animals. So costly animals. So you have to have the responsibility. So in that term, no, not for any other norm or just like that. So go for vegetables, because the cost of production, energy cost of production is much less for that one. That is a major reason. And there are many other added advantages. Okay, I'm not elaborating. But this is the major philosophy behind that argument. Then, less waste in food. Again, I have to say that if you compare developed countries and developing countries, in developing countries, typically India, Sri Lanka, and many other Asian countries, we have issues of wasting of our food at the pre-processing level. 70 to 80%, to my surprise or to your surprise, it is actually happening. 70 to 80% of the fruits and vegetables are being wasted in collection, in processing, in marketing, etc. So it is being lost. But in developed countries, especially in US, after processing, he is just simply throwing out. See, better you think about a small masala dosha, where you can just afford, have your, satiate your hunger. Take 3 or 4 masala dosha at a time. Don't waste. So that is a major issue in developed countries, but we have to think about not only the milk production, we have to have milk processing plants and milk marketing systems. Otherwise, there is no meaning. So equally, we have to consider animal products, plant products, etc., their preservation, their actual processing, so that the wastage is reduced. So both ways, you have to have the pre-prepared and post-prepared food. You have to preserve and avoid wastage. Now, native plants or native animals also. I have to say one more thing. If you just imagine, of course there are history. We in Kerala, we brought rubber, tapioca, many things from Brazil. Yes. But there is an issue in that one. So suppose you just take a tree. A tree is actually an ecosystem. So many birds are there, so many insects are there, and once it is cut down, microbes are going to act upon that one, and it is going to a big biodiversity system, though you are not appreciating it. Or of course, we also as a microbial system, as an ecosystem, but a plant is definitely yes. So think about a plant who is inured to your soil condition, your environmental condition. So it will be hosting more birds, more insects, more microbes, etc. Suppose you bring a plant from other continent. So microbes have issues, because if you take a food from outside, normally you have stomach upset. What is the issue majorly? Your microbes, the stomach microbes are not conditioned to deal with the food. It is not the problem of the food actually. It is your microflora. So actually you think about wisely how you can introduce a plant. So try to preserve your plants, and that is the important place where we have to have emphasis on Ayurveda. Ayurveda, our own spices system, our own plant system, and different this one. So ensuring biodiversity, let us keep that. And in inevitable conditions, you can think about inviting another one, including cattle, sheep, plants, rice, anything, etc. Better go for the daisy, the indigenous ones. Yes, it's a very big value. And then, and this is the last one I have to have, speak, speak, speak. This is the place where we are speaking. I am speaking to you. I have heard you speaking, and better you speak sensibly so that we will have a common system of understanding, common philosophy, common basis. So just simply say that, see, elephants, I am just giving from my own, since I am from a veterinary side. So people used to transport elephants in lorries or trucks. Who says that is safe for the elephants? That is ensuring their welfare? Who says? There is no study at all. Whom you have to ask? Is this the judge of the district or judge of the high court who has to decide that the animals have to be transported in trucks? Who says? Who has the authority to say? Because it is animal scientists, they have to say. And many other things are, it's all empirically taken for granted. It's not the way we have to accept things. So you have to have your paradigms of experiments. You have to ask yourself whether this is right or not. How? Why? And then you have the answer, and you just tell this one. Of course, it is very hard job. Hard job. It's a hard job. As I told, so yesterday one person has been killed, but you have to have solid answers, solid experiments with solid paradigms. Then only you can recommend, rather than going for empirical ones, and today it fails, tomorrow it succeeds, day after tomorrow it again collapses. Rather than that, you have to have a scientific basis about your philosophy. So sky has to have a sky's order and justification ending up to the earth. Sky has to know that there is something called as wind, there is something called as fire, then water and earth. And earth also has to think that there is something called as sky, all these things. So in conglomeration, in unity, it means something. If you want to separate your ear specialist, eye specialist, etc., you will end up in trouble. So definitely this is the time, this is the forum we have to have where we can speak, we can share things, and then take up the mission further forward. This is what I have, a small thing to tell you, to communicate, to share here. So nice that you have heard, and maybe just it's open. If you have queries or just clarifications, I'm happy to answer. Just I have to get the permission of the organizers, if you don't mind. And if there is question, I'm happy. Sir.
Mr. Barma, I don't have a question, but I have an add-on statement. First of all, I congratulate for you for the excellent disposition about the climatic changes, nature, and all where we are living. In conclusion, I have got an add-on. Let us learn to live a minimalistic life. That's the message. And try to love and understand and care nature. That's the add-on.
Great, great. Yes, sir, please.
I am Muthukumar from Chennai. I want you to explain to me about the introduction of the electric vehicles. They are supposed to be green energy and things like that. But at the same time, I think there is a lot of safety aspects in there.
Yeah.
So I want you to clarify on that, whether it is really worth.
You would be giving explanations.
No.
Oh, no. And actually, see, he was asking me what about the disadvantages or the pros and cons of electrical vehicles. Of course, definitely this is also another issue. Even solar energy, some materials or some cells which we are using in solar energy, there is an issue of disposing them. And now the technology is on for finding better batteries or better cell system where we can have easy disposal. And in same way, electrical vehicles also are there. So I'm talking about a trend. Maybe in the due course, you may have your own trammels coming in between. So you have to solve the issues there and there. So there is no permanent issue for anything permanent. So it can change. So the idea is that you have to be solely dynamic and you have to be open with your eyes and ears open to this one. So a solution which you arrive today may not be sufficient to give your answer next time. So always it is your conscience. That's why we say that meet, speak. So with this conclave, it is not the end. Next year we may have to sit again and come with a new issue and discuss, deliberate, and then go further. There is no end. But again, as I understand, electrical vehicles also have major issues in their battery system. And there is a disposal issue in that one. So where do you dump these batteries at the end this one? So science is trying, or technology is trying to tame those batteries also. So avoiding earlier ones, and they are shifting to the new varieties. But still, even people are trying to make the photosynthesis, just like a leaf does photosynthesis for them. But it's a long process. Now, economically, it's not viable. But maybe within another 10, 15 years, or maybe some magical thing, it may come up. See, solar energy trapped as if in a green leaf, and you trap that one. That's why. So these are things. And again, this dam and hydroelectric power, I don't say electric power. So even in Veda time, the water, this one dam system was there. And Indra has broken that one, so he was abused like that. And even Devas did not want them. Anyway, that's a previous history. So potential energy, use of potential energy for, say, water distribution and other thing, it is there. But our power generation is excellent in that way. So totally eco-friendly, as we wish, as we see, as we perceive. Yes. Which one? No, actually, sir, in anything, there are two sides, at least if it is a coin. But life is not a coin, people say that. So it may have more sides, that's all. That is the difference. Coin has, obviously, maybe two sides and one round side also. But life has got more facets. So in that one, and in that way, it's all preferences. So either you just come to this conclave and miss what is happening in the house, or be with your family members and miss this one. So sometimes you have to opt. But in that way, you have to have, if it is justifiable. See, the soldiers are there, they are killing themselves to protect some others. It's your belief, it's a norm. Right? Must be like that. But any time, you have to be conscious about this one. Yes, that's it. No, so there is instruction from the organizer. I have to stop. Okay, thank you very much for hearing and for interacting. Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Now, I would like to cordially invite Srimati Chitra MS, Secretary and Registrar, ICFOSS, International Center for Free and Open Source Software, Thiruvananthapuram, for the presentation.
Good afternoon, one and all gathered here. I'm actually a yoga trainer for the last 40 years. I'm practicing and teaching yoga. In addition to my work, I was working as Additional Secretary to Government of Kerala. On deputation, I am now in ICFOSS, International Center for Free and Open Source Solution. You might have heard about what Windows, isn't it? Windows, but we are in Kerala, we are having FOSS, Free and Open Source Solution. We are using as operating system as Linux. You might have heard about that, Linux. In ICFOSS, we have the research and development in assistive technology, mainly for autism, those having autism, then Braille for blind people, like that. One system is there for assistive technology, then another division for IoT division is there, then language technology for computational linguistic. This is the institution where I am working. I am here to present yoga as a supplementary tool to life skill for personal effectiveness. How yoga can be used as a peace device. It is not a device. Yoga, you all know, it is a feeling. It is a feeling. When I say yoga can do big things as person, but once I have the feeling that my mother makes a laddu, I say it is very tasty. You all know that laddu is very tasty, but you cannot taste what my mother makes. There lies yoga effectiveness. I have given this paper for the publication in the Souvenir, so I just go give some tips for that. Before that, I like all are in a sleepy mode, isn't it? So let me try to change from that position. If you cooperate, I will do. I can try. First of all, close your eyes and observe your breath. Close your eyes and observe your breath. Okay, we can try. Now you all know what is your vital capacity in your body. Now I will give some suggestions. Okay? Again, close your eyes. Inhale some air. Inhale prana. I say prana. Inhale. Then say loudly. Again inhale. Say loudly, please. Again, inhale. Then inhale. Inhale. Again inhale. Inhale. Again, close your eyes and observe your breath. How is your condition now? Whether it improved or not? Feel better? Much better? So many simple techniques are there, but no, it is not the place to play techniques. Okay? I am here to explain synopsis. What WHO defines. Current synopsis is that current scenario is revealed by increased depression. Most I can identify who are all most depressed. Depressed. Increased suicidal rates. In Kerala, suicide rates is high, and increased drug use. Drug, the main problem we are facing globally, not in Kerala, which is clear indication of the challenges we are facing. In this situation, yoga as a supplementary tool for skills aims to help free the mental and creative energies in a constructive manner so as to lead a self-confidence and self-awareness. This will include rhythmatic movements and some selected simplified asana for stretching, toning the muscles, and creating flexibility within the skeletal systems, as well as development and maintenance of healthy nervous and endocrine systems. What is a life skill? You all know. Problem solving, critical thinking, so many things are there like that. But as a yoga is a supplementary tool to life skills, so many points. Insomnia, I will be explaining these things in detail. Effects of yoga as a supplementary tool maintain high energy and alertness throughout the day. For the last 40 years, what I am practicing. I am not preaching. With the help of my great guru and my grandfather, Pujapura Madhavan Pillai Swamigal, I am here to tell to you or told what is I have to say to all of you. It is predetermined what I have to say in this scenario. Maintain that is why whatever the energy I have now, at the end of my day, that is up to my bed, I have this, I can maintain this energy. Enhance mental clarity, emotional balance and productivity, eliminate stress, fear and anxiety, improve communication and interpersonal relation. Stress-free life can elevate chronic ailments. So many studies are there, including our major universities in globally. So many studies are there in these universities. Effects of yoga on emotional aspects: harmonizes mental energy, activate vital energy. It is proved vital energy has improved. Build character, mental aspects, improve concentration, works on the conscious and subconscious, stimulates left and right brain. For the students, not for the students, all should have it should be stimulate both right and left brain. Physical aspects, vitalizes and improves functions of brain. At this age, I can do all these things. The reason behind is doing yoga. Strengthens and balances skeletal, muscular, endocrinal and nervous system. Creative aspects, enhances imagination, focus thoughts and intuition, develop personal self-esteem and self-awareness. Then next, after that, yoga, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. There comes the pranayama, the physical aspects, purification of the blood. By doing pranayama, you can purify the blood, improvement in the absorption of oxygen. In yoga, it is not oxygen, it is prana. It is a life force. Strengthening the lungs and heart. During the pandemic, I have so many patients coming to me to improve the lungs and heart. Lungs capacity, improve the lung capacity. What we have chant, you can chant Om also, but I split it. M. By practicing this Om, lung capacity will improve. Studies are there. Regulation of nervous system. Next, mental aspects, eliminate stress, nervousness and depression, inner balance, release of energy blockers. Spiritual aspects, the deepening of meditation, awakening and purification of the chakras, expansions of consciousness. Summary, in conclusion, I can say, for the personal effectiveness along with yoga, which can act as a supplementary tool to life skills, yoga is a powerful medium for making the people and to face day-to-day challenges and problems. Evidence of yoga practice indicates improved benefits in concentration, stress elevation, stress awareness, behavioral and emotional maturity, and self-confidence in everyday life. Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this paper. Detailed will be there in the souvenir. Thank you once again.
May I request Sri Janardana Menon sir for his paper presentation? Sir, you are requested to give a self-introduction.
Good evening, ladies and gents. My name is Janardana Menon, but name is not very much important. I belong to Santhigiri Ashramam, reside a spiritual institution, and I'm there for the past 42 years. My daughter, my family, everyone is there. My daughter is a sannyasini. And the thing which I've been asked to come for, the work I'm doing for the past 42 years is the very thing which I'm supposed to explain for the sake of all. So much of the things which I do may not cater to the scientific or other academic mind, but to a mostly a spiritual thing. Everyone has been talking about, every one of us has been talking about the peace and violence. Peace and violence are, in other words, one and the same. Without peace there cannot be violence. Without violence there cannot be peace. Our Jamadagni Sahib was told, he has explained as to how we cannot live, in fact, without violence. Spirituality is the one which brings about peace in violence. Violence, if it is madness, there is a methodology in madness. That spirituality brings about. That methodology, if you think, say, after all, I spent about 18 years of my service in armed forces in the Air Force. If everyone in the Air Force or in the Army feels that the peace is the right thing, it is like a film came for Devananda, I think it was. He became a Gandhian as an army person. He came out of the army, became a deserter. In the 62 operation, he felt Gandhiism will not help alone. We'll have to fight the war, and then he comes back. That is the case. Everywhere this is a problem and a solution. This is a seesaw battle. The seesaw battle will have to find how to live in peace among the war. We have been just telling, war front is not full of cactus. It has got roses too. We'll try to think about it. And another thing is that we were trying to say the best thing is the United Nations approach. It talks about getting the fact and truth wherever it is coming from, as it is said in Rig Veda. So I talk with that. Many Tamilian friends are there. Everyone knows about Avayar, is it not? Hello, Tamilians? Avayar, you know. Avayar is a person who said, Katchadu kaimannalavu, kalladadu ulagalavu. She says, what I have learnt is only a handful, and what I am yet to learn is worldwide. The whole world is yet to be learnt. But the crux of the matter is in the third line that UNESCO has omitted. The other things that UNESCO, these two lines it has appropriated. It's a, go for the first line. Yeah. So, next. This is what that is what I was talking about. The third line is that it says, என்று உற்ற கலைமடந்தை ஓதுகிறாள். That the UNESCO has left it. That is the crux of the matter. That is, so says not you and I or the PhD people. That so says Saraswati. The Saraswati says so because it is Aparavidya she is heading. We are talking about Paravidya, which only can set right the problems, including the problems we were talking about, peace and how to bring about peace and how to avoid violence, etc. That can be got done only by Paravidya. I am not belittling Aparavidya. Aparavidya is there. It has got its own uses, but it's not full and whole. So, who says the right and wrong deeds? Next. When you do the right thing, you are born next time with goodies. When you do the wrong things, you are having excruciating pain in your life. This is what everyone knows. And so says the, what is that? Isovasya and Srinarayana Guru in Devachindanam. They say it is the case. That is, and our Tamil again it says, Thidum nandrum pirartharavara, nodalum tanidalum avattorana. That is, again, they're saying, how can the body, from the body, the soul, how can it merge and submerge into the Brahman or the Supreme? That is not the one which is not to be born again, but get moksha. Says, Shiva says in Guru Gita that Dehi Brahma Bhavayet Tasmat Tat Krupartham Vidavidat Sarva Pava Vishuddhatma Sri Guru Pada Sevana. Unless you go to a Sri Guru, a person who has transcended this right and wrong, the good and bad, all these things he is transcended, unless you go and serve at his feet, birth and death are inevitable. So that is a case set. And Aparavidya we have gone about, and then Paravidya says how to extricate the truth. The truth can be extricated from this thing, that Anumanam, there are 4 ways, Anumanam, Agamam, Viparyad, etc., and Pratyaksham. That is, every soul, every great soul we talk about, they said they got the instructions for the people from the Almighty. They did not get it from the test tube. They did not get it from the lab. They got it from the Almighty. But there is a danger. What happens? This, through Pratyaksham, the right one, the deities are subtle forces. We may not permit you to go and arrive at truth and will foist in falsehood in you. I am not telling that. Sri Aurobindo says. Sri Aurobindo says that they will not allow you to go to the supramental force. And Swami Vivekananda says very clearly in Raja Yoga, when he has explained, he says, these subtle forces, these kudrus or the other forces are more jealous of the human being than the fellow human beings are. And they never allow you to arrive at the truth. They hamper your travel towards truth. Next slide. So, this truth has to be understood. If you say that you have to go to the wise man, a guru, you will have to know what that guru is. Many people masquerade as guru, and you have to find out. If you go to a wrong person, you have only yourself to blame. So, how these people, the Parama Guru, whom you have to approach, that is said, previous one. That one, he says, there are There are Bodhaka Guru, Vajaka Guru, etc., and lot of gurus. But only Parama Guru is a person who has to be obeyed. And there are Nishipta Gurus who are not to be obeyed, and if at all you obey, you go follow them, you do not get rebirth up to Kalpa. Complete, this saying of 14 Manvantras constitute one Kalpa, and that is it. So, are you sure that such things, such a great person, Janardhan comes here, babbles here, talks a lot of things? Whoever has said that? Whoever has ever told? What is the authority? You can say everything, every religion talks about it. Regarding Paramaguru, who says the future Buddha, Buddhism says the future Buddha will show the society the sacred truth. He would bring about a sacred and fully accomplished society. This is in the Gospel of Buddha. Christians, I know, I need not to talk more about it. Maranatha, they saw talk about it. Fear not, God will send you another messenger. He will teach you the very truth and to show you the things to come, says John 4:14.25. I'll send another messenger. He would ratify all you said. You and your followers will obey him. When that is God Almighty speaking to all the prophets. I am not telling, Quran says. Quran Al-Imran 3.884. It says, you and your followers will obey him, will you not? And all the prophets, Isa Nabi, Musa Nabi, Muhammad Nabi, everyone says, yes, we will obey him. In that case, God says, in that case, I am your messenger, I am your witness, and you are all witness to me. Then again comes Bhagavad Gita, everyone knows, when Dharma is in peril, I will reincarnate, says. I have seen supramental force for landing on the earth, escorted by Sri Krishna, who was a super mind. Says Aravindo from Pratyaksham. This Pratyaksham we have talked about is that. So these things are the ones we said about. And now, we will go to the problems we have encountered. Everyone has got a problem. The problem is our limited knowledge. Limited knowledge, how it was brought about. When in the womb of this thing itself, not me, a London University Professor Grasscoat said that. And his team have found out the brain has a membrane around the brain. And that membrane registers if there is anything wrong, anything harsh said to the mother when she is at the 7th month of conception. And that is transferred to the child, and the child keeps it. And it is hidden as an aberration. This aberration stays put and comes out in other, what do you call, at the times where there is no control. He calls it Abhimanyu effect, a man from UK. So this blockage of creative spirit leads to latent aberration, uncontrolled eruption at ambience, lifestyle changes it brings about, disarray of this leads to disarray of family ties, and emotional bond is reduced. Alternative attachment, you say a person falls in love, this, that, etc. This alternative arrangement cost because the other things are lost. Ladies, particularly mothers, they have to be careful. How to bring about your children. Then this failure and despair and despondence takes him to escapism, drugs, etc. Then social values he loses. Prominence to the sensory organs he gives. And then this he becomes selfish and creative mind that conception is lost. Then again, the vicious cycle repeats. So this is it. So this is this kind of a thing which is running out of time, I know, because this kind of thing keeps repeating, and this is in our hand, particularly when it is there. But in these things, these are regarding to this thing, I will not go about. It is in Srimad Bhagavatam that how many, there are 43 lakh 20,000 years are there in one Chaturyuga, 71 Chaturyugas make one Manvantara, and 14 Manvantaras make one Kalpa. Kalpa is the end of the world. Now we are in the 7th Manvantara and 28th Chaturyuga. That is true for the, that is the mind-boggling cosmology, which is mind-boggling calendar of Hindus. Please remember that. And with regard to that, our discriminatory works regarding karma, etc., is well known to the people. I am not going to repeat and do it. And how the aberrations, other kind of aberrations come because of our work, vasana, how it is got and all that. They are well depicted in Bhagavad Gita itself. And the vasana causes all three gunas. Three gunas are the ones are the Trimurtis containing. We know what Shiva has, which guna, what Vishnu has, what Brahma has. So these three gunas has to be transcended. You have to go to a person who is becoming nirguna, nirgunaya gunatmani. And that is a person, unless you start with him, unless you get yourself cleansed, these things will repeat. People said that you think it over, you try, you will become not at all. You cannot become because the vasana, the base is there. You may say according to your conscience. Your conscience, my friend, is a delusionary thing. Conscience is a slave of your vasana. Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose and Godse, three had consciousness. Their consciousness was different. So don't think about it. Unless you get a person to correct it, this cannot be overcome. When it is wrong, when your yardstick is wrong, you say the measurement is wrong, there's no use. So unless you do things, correct things spiritually, other things is not possible. Thank you very much.
Friends, it is too late for tea, and tea is already ready. Please have the tea, and we have 3 more papers in this session. So have tea and come quickly. Thank you.